What's going on, everybody? Reached 13,000 subscribers today, so I figured, what the fuck? Let's do a little Q&A before I go to bed. Probably do it for like an hour. Um, yeah, till about 10:30, 10:45, something like that. Depends on how lively these questions are. So go ahead and fire them in whenever you guys get a chance. Before we even start that, thank you to all of you for being awesome subscribers and being constantly growing my channel. What's going on? Killer Pez, Western Kratom, Night Vision Wolf, Wheel Smith. Hello, everybody. 42 people already. Holy Christ. Okay. Hello, all of you. Probably not going to get to everybody's name. Um, Keep in mind, as the questions start flowing, probably not going to get to every single one. So don't feel offended if I miss your question, because I have to like answer the question and then try to scroll back through to see which ones I missed, and I will miss some. All right, first one. What's your favorite non-horror movie? Die Hard. Die Hard is my favorite movie of all time. So that's the easy question right there. When Michael passes out, does he play dead or does he actually faint? It's hard to say. Yeah, that's a good question. Um, I think he actually does kind of go unconscious for a bit. I would imagine so. Otherwise, why would you play dead? You know what I mean? Slushy, what's your favorite Strangers movie? The Prey at Night was a little bit better than a Stranger, or quite a bit better than Strangers. Prey at Night's not even that awesome of a movie, really. It's just a pretty simple slasher with its own set of problems, but it's a fun little watch. The first Strangers I've never been a fan of. Nick Jackson, never seen The Descent? Yes, The Descent is great. Of course, I've seen The Descent, man. Introvert One, huge fan, love your reviews, refreshing and attitudinal. Lots of attitude, I guess. Thank you. Congrats on 13K. Thank you, Devin. G Watch, what's your thoughts on the Child's Play TV series Don Mancini announced? Multiple thoughts. One, I think Don Mancini's a fucking idiot. I don't think he has any idea what he's doing with the series, clearly, because it's just going in millions of different directions, and now we're doing a TV series. I don't think that franchise lends itself to a TV series at all. But it could be good. I mean, stranger things have happened, but he's got to win me back after Cold to Chucky. So I will watch it. As much shit as I talk, I'll fucking watch it as soon as it's aired. But I have no faith in it. Melody Ruby, where do you live? Ooh, someone's trying to figure out where I'm at. On the outskirts of Savannah, Georgia. Movie Freak 2000. Hey, Cody, what's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? Hey, Cody, what's up? Dank Bloop, how was watching Halloween with your daughter? Well, she would only sit still for maybe 5 minutes at a time, so I don't think she really paid much attention to it. But it was great. I always love rewatching Halloween. I was in the mood to watch it, threw it on. The other two kids were into it. Riley was just kind of into it for a few minutes and then walking around terrorizing the house. Uh, Devin Smith finally watched Die Hard, still had to find The Matrix. Damn, you never seen Die Hard or The Matrix until recently? Manny Salgado, how you doing? Doing pretty good. A little tired. Fresh Gaming Dog, what do you think of Gremlins? I love the original Gremlins. It's never been like my top 20 movies of all time, but it's always been a classic. Steven Slater, have you played Eternal Darkness on GameCube? I did not. Very few games on GameCube, like the classic ones I got a chance to play, because my brother owned the GameCube. I played Resident Evil 4. I played some of the James Bond games. Was it Everything or Nothing? I think was on that one. That was a badass one. And the Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes were the ones I remember really playing a lot. Dubbing collapse. Are you also angry about Glenn not being in Cult? No, not at all, honestly, because as much as he fucked up everything, in my opinion, what he did include in Cult, he fucked up pretty bad. So the last thing I wanted was him to put Glenn in and not at least redeem that character. Dead Man Comics. Do you think 2009 Friday the 13th deserved a sequel? Absolutely. It's ridiculous that we did not get a sequel to that because it was profitable, for one. And two, like, look, no insult to the Friday the 13th franchise of the fans, but it's the easiest fucking slasher movie to make. You make a badass Jason, you come up with some creative kills, and you throw fucking bodies at him. It's easy. So yeah, all the rights bullshit and them just not figuring out what the fuck to do and trying to let's go back and talk about how his father didn't hug him enough and all that other bullshit. It's stupid. Techno Clone. Did you see Incredibles 2? I did. Saw it with my kids. Liked it a lot. I need to watch it a couple more times. I mean, it's hard for me to say it's as good or better than the first one because I love the first one so much, and I've been watching it frequently for like what 14 years. So I think that upon first watch, it was damn near as good as the first one. The only negatives I had was I thought the villain was obvious. Like there's like a reveal. I thought the villain was obvious, and I think that Dash got shortchanged a little bit as far as like his character development. But it was fun as hell to watch. Jimmy Graciano, best movie this year so far. Holy shit. What the hell have I seen this year? Upgrade was one of the best movies I've seen. Incredibles 2. People might laugh, but Death Wish is still the most fun I've had in the theater. Um, A Quiet Place. It's one of those four. Dalton Griffin, how do you think the new Halloween will do in theaters? As far as money, I'm hoping it's going to make a shitload because that means we'll get more and we'll get Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street soon. As far as like fan reception, I think it'll be like 70-30. I think that a lot of the classic, like old school fans of the original are going to be really happy with it. And I feel like a lot of the fans of like the Rob Zombie stuff or like the Thorn trilogy might have problems with it because I feel like they're going to scale back a lot of the stuff they did in the sequels, which I want. Acting silly. Excited for the Resident Evil 2 remake? Yes, because the first remake that they did about the first Resident Evil on that was on GameCube, so I played that one too. Was one of the best like survival horror games ever. So if they do that with the second one, hell yeah. Horror Junkie, do you like the horror movie Candyman? If so, can you review it? I have actually never seen a complete Candyman movie. I've seen pieces of them. I need to write that. I don't know. There's that little weird, like, 90s era where you got, like, Leprechaun and Wishmaster and Candyman and everything. I missed a lot of those. Like, I grew up in the 90s, but I spent all the 90s watching the shit from the 80s. So, at some point, I do need to watch those. The Viz, competing live streams, gangster. Who am I competing? Oh, shit. Sorry, CP. That was not on purpose. I promise that. Brandon back. Hey, Cody, do you still hate Freddy's Dead as much as you did in your review of it? Because I do. Yes. I will always hate that movie as much as I did in my review because my thoughts never change on that film. It's god awful. Leonardo Smith, what's your worst nightmare? Um, Worst nightmare. The cliche answer because my father is just something bad happening to my kids, like outliving my kids. It's the easiest one. Oh shit, did I get a super chat? Uh-oh. I don't know how to bring it up. Thank you whoever just donated $11. You were fucking awesome. Let me see if I can find that and then I'll try to scroll back up, guys. I'm sorry. I want to make sure that there we go. Lunatic Sun. It's me, user Seth Wayne. I just changed my name. Still a big fan, Cody. Thanks for responding and interacting. Thank you so much, man. It's awesome. Let me try to scroll back where I was. Sorry, guys. Oh, I got another one. Samuel Pagan was another one too. $1.99. Have you seen the movie The Ugly or The Guardian? I haven't seen either one of those actually. Those of you watching, The Ugly or The Guardian, which one should I watch? I'll try to watch one of those. Damn, how far did I scroll up? You guys got a lot of fucking questions. All right. Again, like I said, I'm just going to start here. I apologize if I missed your question. Just fire it in again, and I'll try to get to it. There's a lot of questions coming in. 103 of you watching. That's awesome. Kevin Lancer, have you played Dead by Daylight? No, I've heard of it. I'm not a big like multiplayer social gamer type of guy. I like storylines. I like single player. I'm kind of an antisocial gamer, I guess. Just even the Friday the 13th game, I got bored with it so quickly. Like multiplayer games, even the best ones, I'll get bored with them very quickly just because it's just repetitive. And most of the time too, not so much with those, but like some of the shooter games, like if you try to play like Last of Us or the Uncharted, you get people who like stay up 48 hours straight and play nothing but multiplayer and they get raised up to like level 46 and like even Overwatch. I feel like it takes so fucking long to get over the learning curve of those games because you're just getting decimated by all these people that have been playing for fucking 18 days straight, and it gets frustrating where you get decimated and then you go and you get revived and then you take four fucking steps and you get killed again. And I'm good at video games, so it's not like I just suck and I just get killed all the time. Techno should a Nightmare on Elm Street get a sequel treatment of Halloween 2018? As far as like going back and ignoring all the sequels, I don't think so. I don't think you have to do that with Nightmare. Nightmare, you can start anywhere in the timeline and it would make sense. Just do what Dream Warriors did. Just start with Freddy has been around doing shit for a while. Have a new set of characters. Have some cool kills. Maybe some kind of cool storyline like where in Dream Warriors, it was about Amanda Kruger and how the origins of Freddy, like something like that, but keep it simple. And I think you'll have a good Freddy movie as long as you cast somebody awesome as Freddy. I hate Facebook. Do you like vampire movies? If yes, which one's your favorite? Yes, I love vampire movies. The Lost Boys is my favorite. It's probably my second favorite movie of all time. It's either that or John Carpenter's The Thing. And my second favorite one is probably the original Fright Night. But I love vampire films like Near Dark, um, the Stake Land movies. There's a ton of From Dusk Till Dawn. I love vampire movies. They need to come back. It's been long enough since the stink of Twilight is gone now. Give us some vampire movies. Devin Smith, does anyone know if John Cusack spelled it wrong was confirmed for the Pet Cemetery remake? I'm not even familiar with who that actor is. Blake Madison, I don't know if the Pet Cemetery remake would do the original justice. It's going to be hard because that's my favorite Stephen King adaptation. It's going to be hard. And that movie still holds up. Like, there's not really anything about that movie that hasn't aged well. The performances are still really good, in my opinion. There's not really a whole lot of effects in it. And the ones that are, like the blood and everything, and the charred up skin of, like, Pascal and everything still looks great. Zelda, I don't think you're ever going to make another Zelda that's as creepy as that. So, yeah, it's got huge shoes to fill, but we'll see. Do you listen to Nine Inch Nails? Ice Nine Kills. Why did I read Nine Inch Nails? Neither. I don't really listen to either one of them. Introvert One, have you seen the movie Cry Wolf? If so, what'd you think of it? I didn't like it when I first saw it. It's one of those kind of PG-13 slasher wannabes. It has an interesting twist somewhat, but it just, no, I don't remember liking it. Dank Blute, what's your favorite out of the Conjuring series? The first one. Zach Hall, what's the worst Transformers movie? I've only seen the first two. I liked the first one. I haven't seen it in years, but I liked it when it first came out. Hated the second one. Never bothered with any of the rest of them. But from what I hear, the most recent one, the fifth one, Last Night's the worst. Sleepy Tree, if they ever remade Dream Warriors, what band would you pick to recreate the song? Stone Sour. I would love to hear Stone Sour do a version of that. And Corey Taylor could handle those high vocals too. Johnny White, thanks for the Friday reviews, Cody. You are welcome. That was fun. Donkey Balls, what did you think of Saw 9? Saw 9. Wasn't Jigsaw 8? Am I counting them wrong? What? I'm assuming you're talking about Jigsaw. It was okay. I think I gave it a C on Netflix. It's just, I don't know. There was a lot wrong with that movie. It was like the best shot and the most streamlined and the least convoluted of any of the sequels, but it didn't feel like it really went for anything new. It just felt like another Saw movie, which does even the twists in the movie are shit that we've seen previous. It's like they recycled a bunch of stuff and just put it out there for money. Walking Fox, what do you think fans would get mad if Pamela was the main focus in a prequel? Probably not. As long as Jason shows up somewhere in the movie, I think Friday the 13th fans would be forgiving of that. Now, the general movie going audience probably would not understand what the fuck is going on because that whole joke in Scream about who's the killer and she's Jason. And it's like, oh, no, Pamela was the killer in the first one. That's a serious like lack of knowledge in general movie going fans. Nobody that doesn't like continuously watch Friday the 13th movies realizes that Jason wasn't the killer in the first one. So that'd be an interesting take. I don't think they'll ever do it. Jason Reese watching Freddy's Dead as we speak. I actually like it. Hey, to each their own, man. Cody Archer, what's up, man? Blake Madison, The Nun should be good. All right, let's see. Deathwolf, favorite heavy metal band. It depends on how much of a stickler for heavy metal, like the actual term. Like my favorite band, at least right now, is Stone Sour, and I think they have some heavy fucking metal, so I would consider them a heavy metal band. If you're gonna be like classic heavy metal, Metallica is probably always gonna be my favorite. Nathan Oswald, what would you have to change for you to like Jason Takes Manhattan? Have the fucking movie set in Manhattan? That's a big start. Have characters that or kills that are actually entertaining, aside from the one on the rooftop. Get rid of all the stupid shit with Jason seeing himself as a kid. Make the ending better. You got to change a lot about that movie to make me like it. 2009 Friday the 13th had the greatest on-screen pair of tits I've ever seen. Stupendous. Lunatic Son. Cody looks like Chris Stuckman's twin. Never heard that one before. Techno Clone. What are your least favorite horror movies? Freddy's Dead, or not Cult of Chucky. Seed of Chucky. Cult of Chucky's bad, but it's not that bad. Never been a fan of the Blair Witch Project. The Bye Bye Man is pretty horrible. Rings was pretty horrible. I'm trying to think of recent ones. Yeah, Freddy's Dead and Seed of Chucky are the ones that are kind of my go-tos because they just fucking dig in my heart. Let me see. Killer Pez, do you think the Freddy vs. Jason 2 rumors are real? I have not heard these rumors, so I'm going to say no. Not that I'm like, the clued into the Hollywood where if I haven't heard of it, it's not real, but if there's any rumors that's not legit, trust me. Or if there was any rumors that were legit, trust me, I would have known about it. So no. I don't think that'll ever happen, honestly. All right, let me see. I'm gonna scroll a little bit, guys. Again, sorry if I missed your question. I'm just trying to get back to the bottom a little bit. Oh, did I just get another super chat? Yes, I did. Steven Slater, thank you. Ben Affleck was the bomb in Phantoms. He's also my favorite Batman. I have never seen Phantoms. I need to rectify that so I can. I know that's the joke from um, fucking Jay and Silent Bob, but I've never seen the actual movie. I've heard it's pretty cool. But yeah, he oh, Ben Affleck's Batman. The spots that are awesome in BVS are my favorite Batman anything. Like the whole warehouse fight is like my favorite Batman anything that's ever been put on screen. I think Ben Affleck is badass, but all the fucking drama and the back and forth about I'm gonna be Batman, I'm not gonna be Batman, I'm gonna be Batman, I'm not gonna be Batman. It makes me dislike him as Batman. It makes me just want somebody else in it and just fucking erase him and just move on past it. So I'm kind of conflicted. All right, we'll start here. You gonna watch The Rock's new movie Skyscraper? Asked by Movie Freak. Yes, it looks like kind of like a Die Hard homage. It's not gonna be anywhere near as good as Die Hard, but The Rock is always entertaining, if nothing else, and it looks like it might be fun. So yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Favorite movie of 2018 so far? Kind of answered that already. It's one of those four that I named earlier. Quiet Place, Incredibles 2, Upgrade, and Death Wish. Let me see. What do you think of Saving Private Ryan? I still have not watched it. I bought it on Blu-ray and I bought it on 4K and I still have not had a chance to watch it. Deadly Blitz, which Jason design is the best? Um, I mean they're all pretty similar. The only ones that are like drastically different is Part 7, fucking Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X. My favorite one, I think the favorite of like the classic Jasons is from Part 4, where he's got the axe wound because he's basically the same exact look as Part 3. He just has the axe wound, and the look behind the mask is a little different. But I still think the remake has got the look down. Like I like the whole tattered like hunter look that he has. I mean, I don't know. I'm a whore for that Jason. Adam Waiters, are you a fan, or Walters? Are you a fan of the band Fozzy? I've never listened to them like for whole albums, but everything I hear of them, I think is pretty good. Um, Chris Jericho surprisingly has a really good voice. If you were in a horror movie, how would you want to die? Well, like if I can actually feel it as quickly and as painlessly as possible, but if it's just movie magic, the most gruesome death possible. Believe in the hype. Do you think Victor from Underworld is underrated? Um, Not really, because I mean, just when he's utilized well, like in the first movie and everything, he's pretty cool. But he's just those movies are a lot of missed potential, and just in general. Jason Roussel, have you seen Terrifier? What did you think of it? I did see Terrifier. I need to review it. I think it was a really cool and creepy, like throwback, just straight up slasher movie. I think Art the Clown has potential to be a horror icon if they do another maybe one or two movies with him. I think there is times when it goes a little too far. You know the scene I'm talking about, but there's times when it goes past like blood and gore to the point where it's just like extremely gratuitous, and I think it's a little bit much. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. Super Tenor, if you say Debussy Voorhees has better boobs in part five. Oh, I guess you're commenting on the other. Okay. We actually did a stream with Debussy Voorhees. Let me see. I'm still having therapy over Justice League. Yeah. Agree with everything you said in Fallen Kingdom. Jordan Smith, would you ever do a John Carpenter marathon review, like a review series? Yes, I've actually had that idea for a while, like starting with his first film and kind of moving through them. Once I get Scream and Halloween under my belt, which will be by the end of this year, I'll have both of those. Then I'm going to start looking for other things besides just franchise. So I'll do like directors or something like that. So that is an idea that I've tossed around before. Favorite actor? Oh, shit. Tom Hardy's up there. I would have said Bruce Willis previous to maybe 6 or 7 years ago as like my easy answer, but he's put out a lot of shit in the past 5 6 years. He's like always on Redbox. Doesn't seem like he tries a whole lot, and even some of the bigger movies he has, so he kind of got downgraded. But I love Death Wish. If he does more stuff like that, he'll get back up there. But Tom Hardy is probably the safe answer, just because everything that dude's in, I'm like, ooh, I want to see it. Cody, have you seen Dog Soldiers? Would love to see a review on it. I need to watch it again. I tried watching it with my dad years ago, and I think we were just kind of half watching it and half fucking around, so we never really got into it much. But I always hear everybody talk about it like it's like the gold standard of werewolf movie. How would you rank the Dark Knight trilogy? I probably have the most unoriginal. I would rank it Batman Begins and then The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. I know most people say The Dark Knight as the number one. I've kind of worn thin on The Dark Knight just because, one, I get tired of talking about it and hearing about it. Like, whenever you say best comic movie, Dark Knight. That's all anybody always said. Dark Knight. Best Batman. Dark Knight. Batman Begins, to me, it does a better job at being a Bruce Wayne movie. And it does a better job of actually showcasing Batman. Dark Knight is Heath Ledger's movie. And anytime Heath Ledger's not on screen, you want Heath Ledger back. I don't really like how the movie, even though I know they planned to do more and it was just because of his death that they couldn't. I don't really care for the way that they end it with Joker. It feels like an underwhelming ending with him just kind of hanging there, and you don't really get to see him again after that scene. Um, there's some other gripes that I have I won't get into. I trust me, The Dark Knight's an awesome movie. I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's great, but I think Batman Begins succeeds for what I want out of a Batman movie just a little bit more. So yeah, one, two, and then three. And I really like The Dark Knight Rises. I think that movie is actually really underrated because people just try to compare it to The Dark Knight and they shit all over it, and it doesn't deserve that. Comic book movie fan, of course. Which mask from Halloween franchise is your favorite and why? The original Shatner mask, because it keys into what the original intent of the character was, which is just blank nothingness. And all the other masks, for the most part, look silly. Like Halloween 2 looks close, but there's something off about it. Halloween 4, I've never liked. Halloween 5 is absolutely the worst mask in the entire franchise. Um, the mask in the Curse of Michael, or the what the fuck is the sixth one? I think it's the Curse of Michael Myers. But yeah, the sixth one with Paul Rudd, that's probably the second best mask. That's a really good mask. H2O is like four different masks, and they all look bad. The Rob Zombie ones are kind of cool, but I think they're a little bit exaggerated. I feel like this new 2018 mask is kind of going for the same thing that Rob Zombie did, but it's a little bit scaled back and a little bit more grounded, not just looking like it's made by Rob Zombie. Believe in the hype. Do you like the TV show Arrow? I loved it for the first two seasons. Got halfway through season three, still enjoying the show, and I have not enjoyed anything from Arrow since halfway through season three, and I gave up with it at the end of season four. So I've not watched anything since then, and I have no intention of going back because everything that I've heard from people that I trust is that all my issues with the show are still there. Jenny Castillo, did you like the movie The Hitcher, the original? I feel like it's underrated horror movie. What underrated horror movie do you like? It's absolutely underrated because it never gets talked about. I love the original Hitcher. I even thought the remake was good. Underrated horror movie to me is Frailty and Session 9. Those are kind of my two go-tos. Um, Session 9 is one of the most effectively creepy movies that you will ever see, and it's all atmosphere. There's no killers walking around. Like, there's no Jasons. There's no, like, ghosts. There's no demonic presence that shows itself and scares the fuck out of you. It's all tone and sounds and the atmosphere of this insane asylum, and it will chill you to your bone. Frailty is just an awesome story. So, both of those movies, if you haven't seen them, see them. Most disturbing movie you've ever seen. Most recent thing that comes to mind is Martyrs. I watched that for a Patreon review, and fuck, that movie is brutal. Oh, got a couple super chats. All right, let me see. Fuck, where was I at? All right. Lunatic Son donating for you and Drum Dums. Thank you, man. Drum Dums ain't getting shit from this. No, I'm just kidding. But I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Hopefully, I didn't miss another one. I did. Charles Thompson. What do you think about Bill Hader playing Richie? Um, I think I'm a little bit disappointed because I think it would have been very, very cool. A nice little homage to the original movie and a nice little kind of love letter to the fans of the original TV movie if they would have cast Seth Green as the adult Richie. I think that would have been awesome. But I like Bill Hader very much, and I'm curious what he's going to do in a more serious movie. So we'll see. All right. Scrolling up a little bit more, guys. Oh, Samuel donated again. Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you, all of you guys. These questions are really good. I love doing these little Q&As. All right. Trying to scroll back up where I was somewhat. I'm just going to start here. Deathstroke. What is the oldest horror movie that you have seen? Oh, fuck. Probably Psycho. I think that's as far back as I'll go. That I've been so far. Dead Man Comics, what do you want to see in the new Halloween? I want to see a lot of what made the original great. I want to see simplicity. I want to see toning down like all the explanations of Myers. I just want him to be like this almost supernatural, this force of evil. I do want to see gore. I do want to see really good kills. That wasn't in the original one. The original one's basically bloodless, and I'm blurry as fuck, aren't I? There we go. Um, the original film is basically bloodless, and I don't think you can do that nowadays. I don't think you can get away with that. So they've already shown pictures, so it is going to be gory. But I want good kills, memorable kills. I want the ending to set up another movie very well. I don't want them to kill Michael Myers because they're going to make a sequel to this regardless, and I don't want some stupid ass Halloween Resurrection style like you know retconning the ending of whatever this is going to be with Michael actually being alive for some stupid ass reason. I hope that they do a really good job at being like a swan song to Laurie Strode because I'm assuming she's going to die in this. So as long as they kind of give her a good return and a good like proper ending, um, and I'd like some cool subtle nods to the other movies, which it seems like they're going to do that. So it seems like everything that I want they're doing from the trailers. Chi-Town Juggalo, have you heard about the Witches remake? What should be pretty awesome. Yeah, I've seen pieces of the original Witches. I've never seen the whole thing all the way through, but I remember it being actually pretty creepy for a kids movie. But I think Del Toro's doing it, so that should be cool. Isn't that Devin Graham? Cody, did you watch the Maniac remake yet? I've already seen it. I just need to rewatch it to do my review. But no, I haven't done that yet. That was I probably shouldn't have even mentioned that I was going to do the remake review because I feel like some people have been anticipating it. Sometimes, guys, I'll announce shit, and it's more just like sometime in the future, eventually, I will do this. It's not really like a promise. Like within 60 days, I'll get this out. So I'm really trying to hammer out my Patreon reviews right now because I've let them pile up way more than I should have, and I feel like shit for that. So I'm trying to like now that I'm not doing a franchise review and I'm not going to the movies as much as I was, I'm trying to hammer those out. So once I get those caught up, then I'll catch up on the ones that I've promised, and you'll see the Maniac review probably within the next couple of months. Uh, for everybody that's just like I love your channel and stuff like that. Like, thank you guys so much. I'm not gonna read every single one. I do see them, but I'm just trying to, for the sake of time, just kind of skip to the questions. So by no means think that I'm ignoring you. Samuel Pagan, are you going to see The Purge? Yes, I'm going to see The Purge. The first Purge, whatever. I'm not overly excited about it because I don't really like the idea of going back to the beginning. I think that's kind of desperate, but I will see it. Sleazy Dog, Cody, check out the game Detroit Become Human. It's a great story game. I've I've been curious about it because I really like that company's games. Um, uh, what the fuck was the last the Heavy Rain? I loved Heavy Rain, so I've been curious about it, but I don't really have all the time in the world anymore to play video games. So games that's going to require a lot of focus and doing storylines and everything, I'm kind of saving for a time when I have more free time. Cody, are you a fan of the Sharknado movies? No, I've never seen any of them. I have no interest. Believe in the hype. Do you like Dead Silence? Yes, that's actually a really underrated movie. Wolf Cool if Tobey Maguire appears in It Chapter 2. I don't know if that was a question or not. But why would Tobey Maguire show up? I don't know. G Watch, do you think Friday the 13th could get a Stranger Things It treatment with Jason as the antagonist? Stranger Things It treatment, as far as like, I'm not sure what you mean. Like a 80s throwback kind of thing? Possibly. But I don't know. I think they're doing just fine with what they did with the, obviously, because I loved it. The 2009 remake, they just need to get the story straight and not try to reinvent the wheel. Kevin Lancer, have you seen a Serbian film? No. And if I can help it, I'll never watch it because I know exactly what happens in that movie. I know the gist of it, and I know the shocking stuff that's in there, and I have absolutely no interest in seeing that. So even if I get a Patreon request, I will tell them send me another request because I'm not watching it. Steven Slater, thoughts on The Thing? I'm assuming you mean the John Carpenter one. It's possibly my favorite horror movie of all time. It often competes with that or The Lost Boys. It's one of those two. If you mean the prequel, The Thing, the movie had a lot of good things going for it, and it sets up the John Carpenter movie fucking flawlessly. But I can't stand to watch it because of how they fucked up the effects by just putting CGI over them. And they had great practical effects. You can't make a Thing movie using CGI effects. That's what makes the Thing so damn good, amongst so many other things. But that's what the heart of the Thing is that crazy ass practical effects work. So Drum Dums actually bought the movie for me and sent it to me with the intention of us releasing dual reviews. So eventually that will happen, but I have not seen it since the theaters. Nick the Quick, Logan or Deadpool? Logan. Logan is absolutely the better movie as much as I fucking love Deadpool. Logan is phenomenal. Like I did my top 5 comic book movies with Durbin from Durbania about a year ago, and this was right after Logan came out. And I'm usually not somebody that does this because I kind of get gun shy about hype. I stuck Logan at number 2 as my favorite comic book movie of all time, just like maybe a month after seeing it. And the only movie that's above it is Captain America: Winter Soldier, just because I love that movie so much. So Logan, over time, might become my favorite comic book movie of all time. Deadpool, I think, was number 3. So they're close. Metal Horror Pack, favorite Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. I love the first one. I'm one of the few people who absolutely love the second one. The third one's got some great moments, but it's very convoluted. I did not like the fourth one at all, and I've yet to watch the fifth one. I think I bought it, and I just never watched it. Jenny Castillo or Castillo, I'm sorry, I keep saying Castillo and Castillo. Who is the new Scream Queen? I don't think we have a new one, honestly. There's not really anybody that's like taking on a role of a Scream Queen right now, like Jamie Lee did, or like Nev Campbell did, or anything like that. There's not really that I can think of. There's not like a specific actress that's just continuously. You know what? She's not really a scream queen, but she's like the only actress I can think of who's kind of like becoming like a mainstay in horror to where I'm interested in seeing everything she does, and that's Jane Levy from both of the Fede Alvarez movies, Evil Dead and Don't Breathe. So that's the closest thing I can give to an answer for that. Steven Russell, what do you think is the most underrated horror movie? Mine is Exorcist 3. I listed them earlier. Session 9 and Frailty to me are the most underrated, but Exorcist 3 is definitely underrated because that's a really creepy movie. Do you like Silent Hill? Have you played the game? The movie Silent Hill, yeah, it's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's one of the better one of the better video game movies. The first Silent Hill is one of the scariest games I'd ever played, at least for the time. That game used to scare the shit out of me. I'm one of the few people that, for whatever reason, I loved the first one, and I had a PS2, but I totally missed Silent Hill 2, which most people say is the best of the series, and they haven't had like a great Silent Hill game come out since. And it looks like I got another super chat. Let me scroll down. Let me see. Where the fuck was that? Okay. Charles Thompson, thank you. What is your top five scary movies of all time? I'll try to rattle them off. John Carpenter's The Thing, The Lost Boys, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, the original Halloween, and probably Fright Night. It's something like that. It'd be hard for me to just rattle them off. It definitely the top three that I listed are for sure my top three. You could probably interchange a couple of dozen movies to be number four, number five, but the original Fright Night, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play 2, Bride of Chucky, Session 9, Frailty, any of those could be in there. Thank you for your super chat. DeMarcus Murphy, what is your expectations for The Last of Us 2? Huge expectations because The Last of Us is like in my top two or three video games of all time. I've replayed it so many times. I think story wise, that's the best story that I've ever seen in a video game ever. And like investing in the characters, I've never been affected by a game like Last of Us. So Last of Us 2's got huge shoes to fill. Let me see. Let me scroll back down towards the bottom. I see I got a troll in here. You are indeed foolish. How stupid can you get? You are a big wuss. Wow. Let me go hang myself in the closet. All right. Mateo Camara, do you like Candyman? I already answered that question, buddy. Reviews from the Beyond. Have you seen the original Suspiria? Are you looking forward to the remake? I watched the original Suspiria maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that for the first time. And I liked it. It was really overhyped for me. Like the people that was recommending that I watch it was putting it in like their favorite, second favorite, third favorite horror film of all time. So I had huge expectations walking into it. I think the movie's unique as hell, and I think it's just because I hadn't really watched an Italian horror movie yet that I need to give it another shot and just now that I know what to expect, watch it again. It's very, very unique and I can understand why so many people love it, but for me, a lot of the things it was going for almost felt like maybe dated's not the right word, but like the ending. Like the ending didn't shock me. I was like, well, yeah, that you kind of pointed in that direction, so it doesn't really surprise me that it ended that way. But I don't know. I loved a lot of things that it did. It just didn't hit me the way that it's hit a lot of people because I watched it so late in life, I think. But I did enjoy it. Am I looking forward to the remake? Yes, because I think that it has the potential to be one of those remakes that maybe works for me a little bit better than the original. I know that tends to happen a lot with me. I love the Texas remake more. I love the Friday the 13th remake more, but just sometimes that's why remakes are a good thing. Sometimes you do it from a different perspective and it just works differently for people. So I'm looking forward to it very much. And from the trailer, the little teaser, it looks like they are really going for that like old school classic horror film feel, which is very cool. Believe in the hype. Do you think Venom is going to be great? No. I think at best it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be great. It just doesn't really. The whole concept of the movie just doesn't really feel like it's going to be anything that ambitious. It feels like it's an excuse to put Venom on screen. And I love Tom Hardy. I love the character of Venom, so you've already got my money. But I don't think it has the potential to be anything more than, okay, Venom was cool. Tiger Man, have you ever played Twisted Metal 2? Yes. That's the Twisted Metal game that I played the most. I used to play the shit out of that game. Eddie Brock, favorite Die Hard, the original. The original and Die Hard with a Vengeance is a close, close second, but the original is, you can't beat it. The only Die Hard that I don't like is the fifth one, the most recent one. Garbage. Wolf Cool, are you planning to do the Ring Part 2 review? No. I'm really not a fan of the Ring. And I never saw the second one. The only reason I saw Rings was because it was out at the time. It was like the new release. But that movie was dog shit. So no, I'm not really a fan of the franchise. Nick the Quick, Captain America or Iron Man? Cap all day, baby. Captain America's the man. Lunatic Son, your thoughts on the actor Vern Troyer? He was good as Mini-Me. That's about the extent of my thoughts. Rest in peace. Like, not I didn't want the dude to die or anything, but until I saw the headline saying Vern Troyer's dead, I was like, oh yeah, that guy existed. Zach Hall, someone with a stupid name is calling Cody stupid. Yeah, trolls all day. You should see Zombievers. I've heard about it. I don't know. Horror comedies in general don't really work for me there. That very rarely. Like 1 out of 10 comedies work for me. Have you ever seen Candyman? I think it's great. Man, you guys really love that Candyman movie. Everybody keeps asking me about it. Silent Hills PT was canceled. I remember the demo. Yeah, it turned into they kind of ripped off that concept for the Resident Evil Biohazard game, unless they just mysteriously were both making the same game at the same time. And then Hideo Kojima went to do Death Stranding, so yeah. Lunatic Son, Cody, make me a mod so I can get rid of trolls in the comments. Nah, man, let the trolls roll. They can say whatever they want, because I'll beat them at their own game, like I always do. Kevin Lancer, have you read the Halloween comic books? No, until a couple of days ago, I didn't even know there was comic books. I need to get them. I hate him because he is disgusting. Why are you watching my fucking stream then, you dumb fuck? Samuel Pagan, I think that's less money you put horror movies, the better it gets. Low budget movie, yeah. Wolf Cool, do you hate jump scares, Cody? No, I hate cheap jump scares and I hate obvious jump scares. Like, you can do jump scares brilliantly. The Thing, the whole blood test scene with the jump scare in there, that is a perfectly crafted jump scare. There's other movies that have really good crafted jump scares. Jump scares are good. Problem is nowadays they're overutilized. When people say it's a scary movie, 9 times out of 10 in modern horror movies, it's not scary at all. It's just filled with moments that will startle you. And there's a difference between being scared and being startled. You can scare people with tone and atmosphere and scores and tension. When you startle somebody, it's just, ah! Oh, okay, you made a loud noise or you threw something in front of me that I wasn't expecting and you startled me for half a second. That's totally different. Eddie Brock, looking forward to the new Terminator film. I think it will be good because James Cameron is back. Well, pump the brakes. He's just a producer, and he's also busy with all the Avatar films. So I think he's just giving them an idea of where to go. James, what do you think we should do? Because nobody has loved a Terminator movie since your last one. Okay? Erase all the, do the Halloween thing. Erase everything after mine. Bring back Arnie. Bring back Sarah Connor. And do this as like maybe he might have given them a jump off point for a story. I don't know if he's writing it, but everything that they're doing about this movie is pretty much the same thing with the Halloween movie. It's what I would want them to do. Now, I haven't hated any of the Terminator sequels, even Genesis. Genesis is not a good movie, but it's entertaining to watch. But getting back to that grounded feel, especially getting Lyndall Hamilton back, and she looks badass, right there, you got my money. Blunt Man, do you think Paramount would ever consider making Never Hike Alone canon, and would you like to see a sequel? I think that I would be a little bit surprised if, whenever they get this rights bullshit kind of straightened out, if somebody from Paramount or whoever ends up with the rights does not go to Womp Stomp and say, hey, here's 3 times the budget that you had, which they had $17,000, so maybe even more than 3 times. But they might say, okay, here's $10 million. Go make Never Hike Alone again with this budget, with this cast. Tack on another 45 minutes, and let's make that the new Friday the 13th film. Real Bestacks, what's your thoughts on the Scream series? You will find out very soon because I'm reviewing all 4 of the Scream movies in July. Every single week in July, you'll have a new Scream review, so look out for that. Overall thoughts, though, I like the series quite a bit. It took a long time for me to come around to it for reasons that I'll explain in the review, but overall now I do enjoy the series a lot. All of them, even 3. 3 is not a good movie, but I still enjoy it. Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers? Michael Myers. Bruce Brown, do you think they will ever do a second Don't Breathe? Yes. I think he's going to do Evil Dead 2 first, but he's already told everybody that he has a concept for Don't Breathe 2. And I think I have another super chat. Let me see. I wish it would have an option on my phone to just go straight to the super chat instead of having to scroll like an asshole. Me all day. Thank you, man, so much. Or woman. I always say man, just rolls off the tongue. Who is your favorite comic relief of any horror film? Oh, fuck. Damn. Randy's a great one from the Scream series, since we were just talking about that. Kincaid from Dream Warriors was a great one. Um, Let me see. Another really good one, if you consider this a horror movie, it kind of is. But Oliver Platt's character in Lake Placid is a really good comedic relief. His interaction with the sheriff, I can't think of the guy's name. Fuck, it's on the tip of my tongue too, but that's a really good one. Donkey Balls, you should play Telltale's The Walking Dead. I've played all of them. I loved the first two. I thought that the last one, The New Frontier, was okay. I think they made a big mistake not making Clementine the main character, but it looks like they're rectifying that for this final season. But yeah, if you guys haven't played that, that's everything about those Telltale games is 1,000 times better than that overrated piece of shit TV show that is probably going to die off very soon. Jeff Match Seal, thoughts on Vinnie Paul's death? It fucking sucks, dude. I mean, it always sucks whenever you lose a brilliant musician like that. Like Vinnie Paul is one of the few drummers that I would honestly say like is one of my favorite drummers. Like I've never been a huge Pantera fan. There's about 5 or 6 songs that I genuinely love with Pantera, but they've always been a little bit too Cookie Monster for me. And Hell Yeah is one of those bands that I've never liked for whole albums, but there's a dozen or so songs that I love by them. But just Vinnie Paul's style of that groove that he puts into everything. He's always been a drummer that I've like, oh, that's Vinnie Paul, I can tell. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, 54 years old, done. Hopefully he's reunited with his brother. Jenny Castillo, did you see The Babysitter on Netflix? It's horror and comedy. It was good. You should check it out. It was actually my favorite horror movie of last year. So yes, I did see it. Loved it. Kevin Lancer, could the PG-13 Halloween work? In today's age, I don't think so. I mean, if you really take out the one scene of nudity, and Halloween is a PG-13 movie, the original, especially by today's standards. But I don't think you could do that now. Like I already said, like do all of the simplicity and the execution and the mysterious supernatural form of Michael Myers, like carry all that shit over from the 1978 film, but you got to make it gory. You got to have some carnage in there. You got to have some memorable kills. I don't think you could get away with having simplistic kills in 2018 because modern audiences will say it's boring and uninventive. I mean, as great as it was in the original film, like the one kill that's memorable in the original film is when he stabs Bob and sticks him up against that door, that pantry door, and just sits there and just looks at him. The other two kills is strangulations, aside from the kill in the beginning. So it works wonderful for that film, but if you tried to do that in 2018, people would be like, can you be less creative? So they definitely need to make it rated R. DeMarcus Murphy, do you think a Tales from the Crypt reboot could be a hit in 2018? It depends on the stories that they tell. Let me see. GNC 623, what are some things you would like to see in episode 9? Uh, it's hard to say because the Last Jedi just disappointed me so much with the directions they decided to go, trying to basically subvert everybody's expectations by doing the opposite of what everybody wanted. And for some people that worked. I wasn't one of them. I would almost want J.J. Abrams to do the same thing to the Last Jedi and just fucking give the middle finger and just do all of the shit that he set up in the Force Awakens, like Rey's parentage and Snoke and some other things that just kind of got washed away in Last Jedi, and bring it all back as if the Last Jedi kind of never existed. That'll never happen. It probably wouldn't work, but just for my own sick, twisted pleasure, that would probably be funny. It's hard to say, man, because like Last Jedi just left me on such a sour note to the point where I'm like, I don't even really care where they go now. I'll see it day one, but I have no idea where to go because everywhere that I was really curious about, the Last Jedi kind of cut it off at the knees. Manny Salgado, if you could replace Don Mancini, who would you replace him with? Um, I mean that's hard to say. I think James Wan could be a really cool person to kind of guide Child's Play, because he did, he's done shit with dolls. He's done creepy shit with dolls. You got Billy from the fucking Saw movies. You got Dead Silence. I mean, I could see him doing a cool Child's Play kind of retooling. Jesse Tang, if Chucky keeps getting more human, will he need to eventually eat? It's a good question. Samuel Pagan, Candyman was a great movie. Candyman. Wolf Cool, do you watch WWE? Nah, never been a wrestling guy. Thoughts on Fatal Frame PS2? I never played it. Um, Worried the new Halloween will suck and be unoriginal. I feel like I'm the only one not excited about it. Thoughts? I mean, I've shared my thoughts. I'm very excited about it. I got all the faith in the world. Have you seen Superman Returns from Wolf Cool? Yes, not a fan of it at all. Man of Steel is the only Superman movie that I've seen that I've loved. Never been a Superman fan. Eddie Brock, they are removing the last three films from the timeline for 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 Halloween. I guess you're talking about. They're removing all of them except for the first one. Aaron Williams, love your videos, Cody. You deserve way more subs. Thank you. Getting there, slowly but surely. Top three horror movies of all time. I already answered that, but the Thing, Lost Boys, and Dream Warriors. Frostful edits. What's your favorite slasher? Dream Warriors. Harley Max. Have you seen the 1989 movie Intruder? I have not. Jesse the Slasher. Do you think there'll be a Jeepers Creepers 4? Nope. Not unless they can rip it away from Victor Salva. And Jeepers Creepers 3 left everybody on such a sour note that they're not going to be looking at a whole lot of money. So no, I think it's done. Believe in the hype. John Wick versus Denzel Washington in The Equalizer. John Wick. I love Denzel, but John Wick's a bad motherfucker. Carl Maher, have you seen Lovely Molly? I have not. Never even heard of it. Uh, are you going to review the Scream TV series? No, I don't really have much interest in that show because, from what I hear, the storyline of the first two seasons is not going to get an ending because in season three they're rebooting it and doing something totally different. So any TV show that does that, I don't even bother starting because I don't want to get to the point where I'm waiting for answers that I'm never going to get. Uh, Faux pas. Who is the most recent horror icon? The Collector, in my opinion. Believe in the hype. Inception or Shutter Island? Inception. I mean, yeah, way, way, way Inception. I like Shutter Island a lot, but Inception's a phenomenal fucking movie. Eddie Brock, have you seen the Pink Panther movies? Why does it keep going blurry? No, never seen any of them. Not my kind of movie. Do you think Never Hike Alone should get a sequel? For like a fan film sequel? Not really. I think it worked good as a standalone. Not to say that I wouldn't want to see Womp Stomp not do another Friday the 13th fan film, but just to continue off of with the character of Never Hike Alone, I think that'd be forced. Kevin Lancer, who is your favorite side character from the Halloween franchise? Well, I mean, it's got to be Loomis. Loomis is, well, you could argue that he's a main character, not a side character. So as far as minor characters, oh fuck, that's tough because there's not really, for me as a casual Halloween fan, there's not really a ton of like, okay, favorite side character in the Halloween franchise. This is gonna sound like a really shocking answer because I'm not overly fond of the first movie. And strangely, I'm a defender of the second movie. I think Sheriff Brackett, the oh fuck, why is his name escaping me? Chucky. Why is his name? Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif's Sheriff Brackett is probably my favorite side character because his acting ability is way beyond those movies. Dank Blue, did you watch 13 Reasons Why season 2? Yes, did not like it at all. It was everything that I was afraid it was going to be. It feels forced. It feels like they didn't really have a story. It felt like everything you were waiting from episode 1 to happen either does not happen and it's going to happen later on, or like the whole thing, not to spoil it, but like you're waiting for Bryce to kind of get his comeuppance the whole fucking season, and they do the cop out thing and trying to be too realistic, and they make, oh, he's rich, so we kind of just got out of it. So no, and they make Hannah like an unlikable character. Like they add so many things, like sticking in these little like blank spots that they didn't fill in season one, and they make her unlikable. Like the fact that she was fucking the Asian dude for like the entire summer when Clay was away, it just makes her unlikable. It's like, okay, so you're literally fucking around and doing all the things in high school that kind of, it makes it feel like she brought on a lot of shit onto herself. Let's put it that way. So no, I didn't like season two at all, and I could care less about season three. Um, Eddie Brock, have you seen Goodfellas? Yes, that's like in my top five films. Casino or The Departed? The Departed. Casino is good. The Departed's phenomenal. Never been a huge fan of Casino. Wolf Creek or Wolf Cool. I like Rob Zombie as a music star. Did I get another super chat? I think I did. Steven Slater, $5. Thanks, man. I would love if you did a crossover with James Rolfe from Cinemassacre for Monster Madness month. I'm actually not even familiar with that channel. I don't get a whole lot of time to watch YouTube, so I'm really only familiar anymore with my friends. But I'll check it. Cinemassacre. I'll check that channel out. Um, watch this video on a 60-inch flat screen TV. Probably gonna look like shit because I'm using my front camera. Um, let me see. Did I get this? Sons of Anarchy was great until the final season. I need to watch it again. That's the only season I haven't rewatched. Season 7 of Sons of Anarchy felt extremely slow and drawn out, although it had a lot of great moments in it. Like all the payoff was great. It just took too long to get there. But really, the only season of Sons of Anarchy that I just straight up don't like is the third one, just because it feels like it's so long and drawn out. Because it's an extended season, I think, and it just take or no, it's not extended, but they do this thing where they go to Ireland, and it just feels like it takes for fucking ever to get to like the good shit in season 3. And I think Good Times. Have you ever seen the production of Halloween 6? Yeah, it's I'm honestly not a gigantic fan of either of those cuts. The only, and this is going to sound like I'm just promoting them, but the only cut of that movie that I feel like really works is the cut that Drum Dums put together, where he spliced most of the theatrical cut with some of the things from the producer's cut, and it feels like the most complete and coherent version of that movie. Like when he sent me that cut that he put together and I watched it, that made me a fan of the movie because before I thought it was a giant mess with a lot of good things about it. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the theatrical cut or the producer's cut, but I thought the theatrical was better because producer just does a lot of really weird shit. I think I got another super chat. Let me make sure I scroll down so I can see this, guys. Freddy or Chucky? I saw that one. Freddy. Chucky's a very close second, but Freddy's my guy. Where the hell is it at? God damn it. There should be a super chat button. Get with the shit, YouTube. Damn. Hopefully I don't miss this question, guys. I apologize if you sent me in a super chat and I missed it. This live system here with this chat. Okay, maybe I didn't miss it. Okay, I think I got them all. Um, thoughts on the upcoming Child's Play TV series? I got that question earlier, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. Monster Madness on Cinemassacre is awesome. Steven Russell, feel bad. What do you think makes a better horror movie? Slasher, realism, or paranormal supernatural? It depends on the movie, man. I mean, you could have a movie that's a slasher with realism that's just as good as a movie with paranormal and supernatural. It just depends on the execution. What do I prefer? I'm really fucking burnt out on paranormal and supernatural movies. Like Hereditary, everybody lost their shit about it. I kind of sunk down in my seat a little bit whenever I realized that was just another form of supernatural kind of demon possession type movie because that's like the only horror movie that we've gotten for like the past 5, 6 years. Like ever since Insidious came out, it feels like everything's got to be demon possession and paranormal activity and everything like that. So I'm kind of burnt out on that. So right now, I'll take a slasher over that any day. Uh, Manny Salgado, which route would you like Child's Play to go after Cult of Chucky? Where the fuck can they go from that? If they could find out a way to go back to what they were doing with Curse, then I think they'll be on the right track. But like he went with all the crazy shit in Seed, and then he pulled it way the fuck back for Curse, and everybody's like, yes, do more of that. And then he put way the fuck into the crazy shit with Cult, and then half the people loved it and half the people hated it. So it's just, I don't know, where the fuck can they go with the end of that movie? You have Kyle in the original Chucky. Okay, you get Kyle and you get Andy, and you get to the point where they've like tortured the shit out of the head of the original Chucky to where he's actually going to help them take down the other Chuckies in some way. And he goes and they're trying to take down Fiona Dorff and Tiffany. There's a good little start. That would have my interest somewhat. Mateo Camara, thoughts on Justice League the movie? I got a full review if you want to see all my thoughts, but I was really disappointed in it. Gigantic mess. Lunatic Son, gotta go. Cody had fun. Take care. Good night, man. Probably not gonna see me saying good night because that was probably 5, 7 minutes ago when you put that. But good night anyway. Maniacs. Hi, Cody. Who would win? Freddy Krueger versus the Joker. Freddy, in a second. I think Freddy wins pretty much with anybody. Like they always have the whole thing like who would win? Freddy, Jason, Ash, Leatherface, Michael Myers, Freddy, because Freddy's the one who cannot be stopped in his own world. And everybody always wants to tie his hands behind his back and say, no, 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 no. Freddy has to be in the real world. Then who would win? Well, okay, then not Freddy. But why do you have to take away all of his powers to make it a fair fight? So I think if you just have unadulterated Freddy with all of his powers the way that he should be, he wins against anyone. Do you think Halloween 2 should have played out differently? If you're talking about the original Halloween 2, the only thing that I don't like about that movie, like I have a serious gripe with, is the whole sibling reveal is so throwaway that it feels like the movie you could literally take that scene out of the movie where Loomis is sitting in the car and finds out that they're siblings. Just delete that scene out of the movie. The movie is exactly the same. So the fact that they threw that in there as this major reveal just to have an excuse to do a sequel and didn't at least make it have some kind of weight in the movie always bugs the shit out of me. I will say this until the end of time. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 has a lot of problems, and I understand a lot of things that people hate about it if you're a hardcore Halloween fan. But the way that he handled the sibling reveal with Laurie finding out in Loomis's novel and the tragedy and the fucking like devastation that she goes through with that reveal, finding out that this is her fucking family, and just all the questions that just make her go out of her mind, is 1,000 times better and more effective than the way that they did it in the Halloween 2, the original. I will say that and defend it and argue that with anybody. Mal Darko, who is your favorite Breaking Bad character? Aside from Walter White, Mike. Like I love all the Breaking Bad characters. There's not a single bad character in that entire show, but Mike is just a badass. Like when I heard they were doing a spinoff, I was like, please let it be about Mike. And thankfully, it's like half about Saul and half about Mike. It's called Better Call Saul, but it's just as much Mike's show as it is his. But yeah, aside from Walter, Mike is just awesome. Matt Soros, thoughts on Scream 1. Keep an eye out for the review coming out the first week of July, and you'll have those answers. The Lizard King, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees? Michael Myers. Um, there wasn't a super chat, dude. Well, my dollar sign thing up on the top that you guys can't see goes up, but it doesn't like. If you look at the chat on a computer, it pops up the super chat off to the side of the screen to where it stays there for a while. And it doesn't do that on my phone when I'm doing a live stream. The dollar amount just goes up, and I have to go find it. So sometimes I'll see it and I'll feel like I missed it. Have you hit 1 million subs yet? Not quite. Kevin Lancer, what was the Nightmare remake's biggest problem? Had a lot of big problems. Making Freddy a child molester and not a child murderer. Making Freddy sympathetic as like maybe Freddy was innocent. That bullshit. Um, the acting of the actual characters like Nancy and everything like that. changing around the characters and not changing anything, just changing for the sake of change. Overuse of CGI and like going too realistic with the makeup. There's so many problems with that movie. I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of people try to make it out to be. Like it's clearly the worst of the franchise and one of the worst horror movies ever made. Eh, like CP says, take it the fuck easy. But it's not a good movie. First slasher you ever watched? Child's Play 3. It was the first horror movie I ever watched, period. Believe in the hype. Do you think Jim Carrey's movie The Number 23 is underrated? No, because I don't think it's a very good movie at all. Goodfellas versus Scarface. Goodfellas. G Watch. What would you want to see a Fede Alvarez Hellraiser? I'll watch Fede Alvarez direct a fucking milk commercial. That guy is awesome. So whatever he wants to do, I will watch. Do you think Halloween 2 should have played out differently? Oh, I just answered that question. Film Addict, favorite John Carpenter score besides Halloween? Christine. I love the Christine score. Kevin Lancer, are you looking forward to The Nun? Yes and no. I'm kind of not burnt out to the point where I'm not going to see the movies, but burnt out to where I don't have that much excitement of the whole Conjuring universe. But it looks like it could be cool. I mean, they all use the same tricks. It looks like James Wan is directing all these movies because all the guys directing the spin-offs are kind of like the ones he's taken under his wing, and they all kind of have the same style. Not that that's a bad thing; it's a good style, but it definitely feels a little redundant. Ryan Nelson, favorite Western? It's a good question. A lot of the classic ones I have not seen. I've bought them with the intention of watching them, but like I probably have 100, 200 movies, guys, that I've bought with the intention of watching and just have not got around to it yet. So like the big ones like Unforgiven, I haven't seen yet. I've never seen the entire movie of Tombstone. That might even get me shot. But as far as westerns that I've seen the entire movie, my favorite's probably the 310 to Yuma remake with God, my nose keeps itching. Damn. I'm like I'm picking my nose. Um, Christian Bale and Russell Crowe. That's probably my favorite one. Wolf Cool. Have you seen any Gil Keenan movies? Haven't even heard of him. Eddie Brock. Have you seen Dumb and Dumber 2? Yeah, I didn't think it was very good at all. For He's 67. Thoughts on Kevin Smith's Tusk? It's really fucked up and bizarre, and it made me feel weird. Could you review it? That's the type of movie I would probably only review if it was a Patreon request. I really didn't enjoy it. I thought that there was aspects of creepiness to it, but the weird shit that you're talking about far outweighed the creepiness. God damn, the hell is in my nose? Far outweighed the creepy shit, and it was just a very strange watch to the point where I'm like, I experience it, and I'm like, okay, I don't think I ever need to experience that again. That's like one of those checklist movies. Like, okay, I've seen Tusk, and now I never need to watch it again. Nathan Oswald, would you rather have a sequel to Halloween 6 or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Halloween 6, because Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 does not leave anything open for a sequel that would make any kind of sense. Halloween 2 has a very definitive end for all the characters involved. So, unless the only way you could make a sequel to Halloween 2 is have some stupid ass reason for why Michael didn't actually die and he's just walking around killing people and you have everybody say fucking cunt 100 times just to make it feel like a Rob Zombie movie. That's the only way that you could do a sequel to that movie. So, as weird as it would be, I'd rather see a sequel to Halloween 6. Ethan Holgate, do you like Michael Bay's movies? I like some of them. I love The Rock. I love Bad Boys. I really like Bad Boys 2 as well. Um, I what other movies? Armageddon's cool. Um, what's some other Michael Bay movies? Why am I going blank right now? I like The Island, even though it would have been much better of a movie if it stayed like more thriller and not so much just action movie. I like that one. Um, Pain and Gain was entertaining, but it just feels dirty watching it because it's a real life situation where people were murdered and butchered and fucking barbecued and everything like that, and they make it like a comedy, so it's very weird. Um, It's not a movie that I would ever watch again, just because it doesn't really have that rewatchability for me. But I thought that 13 Hours, I think was the name of it. Whatever the movie he just did with John Krasinski, I think it's 13 Hours. That was pretty good. That was a lot more grounded than most of his stuff. So yeah, I like Michael Bay's movies. I think that he's a lot better than people give him credit for, but he also deserves a lot of the hate that he gets, if that makes any sense. Brandon Beck, horror movie you love but admit has aged badly. Fucking blurry ass camera. Stay focused. Oh, movie that I love but has aged badly. Um, Damn, that's hard to say. I don't really have an answer for that one because most of the ones that I love have aged pretty well. Even Trick or Treat, like something that's like a B movie like that, I feel like it ages pretty good. So I don't have an answer for that one. That's you stumped me. Congratulations. Let me see. Brat Queen, congrats on the 13K. Thank you. And Brat Queen is one of my patrons, so thank you for your continued support. Has there been a movie that really surprised you with how much you enjoyed it when you expected to hate it? Um, Expected to hate it, but I loved it. Damn, you're gonna stump me again. These are one of the ones I'd have to like think about. A movie that I expected to hate but loved it. Bad Moms. Last year's Bad Moms, or was it 2 years ago? When that movie came out, Holly was all about going to see it, and I was like, ugh. It came out at the same time as Jason Bourne, and Jason Bourne was the one I really wanted to see, and I ended up hating that movie. So there you go, it's irony for you. But I was like, ugh, why do you want to see that? Let's go see Jason Bourne. No, Bad Moms looks like something really funny. Fine, like it's one of those like, okay, you can pick the movie this time kind of things. And that movie was so fucking funny, especially as a parent. There's so much humor in that that is just spot on if you were a parent. So yeah, I expected to hate that movie and I ended up loving it. Roy Burns, what did you think about Halloween 2 2009? I'll be doing a full review for it this October because I'm going to be doing all the, or September or October, one of those, because I'm doing all the Halloween movies. But there's a lot of issues with it, but it's one of the Halloween movies that I like the most. Like it's in my top, I think it's number four, maybe right now, four or five. But I'm kind of a defender of that one. So yeah. Main event mania. What horror icon scares you the most? I mean, none of them have ever scared me to the point where like nightmares or anything like that. But like, if you're asking like which one would I not want to be locked in a room with, it's Freddy. Like to me, Freddy's easily the scariest of all of them. He's the most demonic. He's the most evil. It's him or Leatherface because Leatherface is scary as fuck too. Like, um, yeah, one of those two. David Medina, have you seen A Quiet Place? Yes, I enjoyed it a lot. Didn't get a chance to review it, but I enjoyed it a lot. Tyler Trigg, what do you think will come first, Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th after Halloween? Nightmare on Elm Street because Friday the 13th still has all these rights issues they're going through with court. So until they figure that shit out, we're not getting another Friday the 13th movie. It doesn't matter how much money Halloween makes. Faux pas, are you going to see Three from Hell? Yes. I'm not expecting anything from it. I need to rewatch House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. I didn't like either one of them when I first saw them, but yeah, I'll be seeing it. Five Finger Death Punch fan. No. No. Nada. Nine. I'm not. They feel like stock radio metal or hard rock, whatever you want to call them, and they've built their entire career off of really bad covers, in my opinion. Like every single song that they cover, and they cover a lot, I hate it. Every song that they cover, like the House of the Rising Sun, is like sticking a fucking corkscrew in my ass. When I listen to that, I'm like, oh, this is so bad. So yeah, I'm not a fan of them at all. Matt Soros, my friend Anthony Pajamas introduces you to me. Please give him a quick shout out. What's up, Anthony Pajamas? Thank you for spreading the word. The Lizard King, Chucky or Ghostface? Chucky. Did you meet any celebrities? I've met Mark Tremonti, the guitarist for Alter Bridge, formerly of Creed and Tremonti, obviously. Met him a couple months ago at a meet and greet after the concert. Really nice guy, really grounded. So that was awesome. Got him to sign a poster for me and got to tell him about my tattoo, the Blackbird tattoo, which is one of the songs that he helped write. Um, got it for my grandma when she passed away, so I kind of a little story that I wanted to tell him. So that was cool being able to do that. So that's the only celebrity that I've like met face to face, actually talked with. The only thing close to that that also happened was whenever I was 17, I worked in a hotel here in Savannah, and what the fuck is her name? Vivica A. Fox from Kill Bill and some other movies. She stayed at our hotel, and she walked past the front desk and smiled at me. That was the only other like celebrity interaction I've had. Harley Max, how about the classic Hitchcock Psycho? I mean, it's brilliant, especially for its time. It's a movie that's hard for me to get into nowadays. I'm a much more of a fan of Psycho 2. That's more my kind of movie. But yeah, it kind of started it all. So you got to give it its respect. Do you think Michael's the scariest? No, I don't. Is Cult worth a watch? Cult of Chucky? Yeah, I mean, I don't like it, but it seems to be extremely divisive. People either love it or hate it. So you might be one of the people that love it. So yeah, give it a chance. I think it's still on Netflix. Slasher movies. Are you a fan of the original Children of the Corn? Personally, I think it's the only good one. Uh, yes and no. I think it's the only good one, but it's also not very good. It's a very dated. That's a whew. You know what? That is a perfect answer for a question that I get all the time that I can never think of a good answer to of what movie needs to be remade. Because I used to say It. Well, now we have It. Now you need to do Children of the Corn because Children of the Corn has yet to have like a great movie. Will you review the Psycho movies? I'm sure I will eventually. Can we expect a Breaking Bad series review? Yes. That is something that for sure I will do at some point, and I'm gonna do it epic. Like I, not to promise too much, but like I've tossed around ideas in my head for like intros and shit like that for Breaking Bad. Like whenever I get to the point where I'm gonna do Breaking Bad, I'm gonna do it justice as hell because that's my favorite TV series of all time, like by a landslide. Number two is like 10,000 miles below Breaking Bad. So whenever I get to that point, I'm gonna make it to where my Breaking Bad reviews are the best reviews on YouTube. So yes, look forward to that at some point. Again, I'm not promising it even this year, but eventually, yes. Stay Metal Ray, favorite Godsmack album, Faceless. It's my favorite one. Dave Frostock, have you ever seen the Warlock movies? No, I've never seen them. I've seen pieces of them. Who would win, Chucky versus Leprechaun? I like Chucky more, but Leprechaun's got more powers, so I guess Leprechaun would win, but I would hope Chucky would win. Hey Cody, have you seen the Redwood Massacre? No, I never even heard of it. Let me see. Congrats on 13K. Thank you. Any good ideas for a slasher they need to revive or a new series for a slasher? I don't have an idea for like a new series. If you want to watch a cool video, I did a video with CP. Look up Pitch Wars on my channel. I did two episodes. One of them is a DC movie, and the other one's a slasher movie. Me and CP had our own slasher scripts, and we shared them as like a competition. I had a movie that was kind of a slasher movie and kind of like it's a slasher film, but it has a lot of flavors of other films. Like it has a little bit of Collector and a little bit of Hostel and some other stuff. So it was pretty cool. So that was the closest thing that I would give to like my idea for a new slasher. But a slasher that needs a revival is Nightmare on Elm Street, the most in my opinion, because we got a great Friday movie in 2009, at least in my opinion. We got a great Leatherface reboot. We got a tolerable Halloween reboot, great in some aspects, shitty in others. We got a horrible Freddy reboot. So we haven't had a really good Freddy movie since New Nightmare. And that's not even really a Freddy movie. So if you want to get technical, we haven't had a great Freddy movie since fucking Dream Warriors. So yeah, we need a new one. Did you see the Creed 2 trailer? Yes, I did. Looks very good. I'm worried because of all the behind the scenes bullshit that happened with it, but from the trailer gave me everything that I would want. So we will see. Spider-Man versus Predator. Would you like that crossover movie? No, maybe in a comic book or something, but in a movie, I don't think that would ever work. Freddy wins with everybody. Not true, Cody. In Freddy versus Jason, he got his ass whooped. Not really, because they pulled him into the real world. Jason chopped the fuck out of him, and at the end, he winks like he didn't really do shit to him. So I would, uh, I would take you to task for that one. I don't know. I don't think anybody really won in that movie. Jason got fucked up. Freddy got fucked up. I think they both walked away just as strong as they walked into it. Let me see. Do I have high hopes for It Part 2? Yes, because It Part 2 has more to prove than It Part 1 because we've already proved that It Part 1 is a great story with the kids. We saw it in 1990. And that's most people's favorite part of the book is the first half. The second half is where all the problems lie with all the supernatural interdimensional shit if they're going to go that far with the fucking child orgy if they're going to go that far, which they're probably not since they're kind of moving past the kid stuff, but yes, because everything that can go wrong with an It movie is in the second part. So I have high hopes for it being a kick-ass movie and proving that you can do it right, but I'm also worried that adding a great cast to it is not going to be the saving that movie. So we'll see. Uh, Again, for anybody that's joining, I'm just kind of scrolling looking for questions. So if you give like a hey Cody or your channel's awesome or anything like that, thank you all. I can't read every single comment. I'm trying to go through, so by no means am I ignoring you. Um, Curious if you ever seen the movie The Lost Boys, since it's probably my favorite horror movie of all time, alongside John Carpenter's The Thing. I've seen it a couple of times. Um, Let me see. Jenny Castillo, I love Halloween H2O. I understand why some people hated it, but I felt that it was the true Halloween 3. Do you agree? Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. I understand some aspects of it that people hate, like Drum Dums cannot fucking stand Chris Duran. Is that the guy's name? The guy who plays Myers. And I could see why in some aspects. In other aspects, I think he's a little too hard on him. The mask, I can understand, annoys people because they have four different masks. They have one mask you'll see in the beginning. They have one mask that's in one scene. They have a CGI mask, and they show his eyes, which is a weird. It never really dawned on me as a kid when that movie came out that that was a problem. But now that I kind of understand the character more and I've watched the movies more and grown up, I see that that's kind of a weird decision because you're not supposed to be able to see his eyes. But yeah, I love H2O. Wolf Cool, do you want Breaking Bad back? No, no. As much as I love that show unabashedly, like I would get a Breaking Bad tattoo. That's how much I love that show. It ended perfectly. They're doing the Better Call Saul thing. It's a prequel. There's still really cool stories to tell. Do not mess with that show's legacy by trying to bring it back because it ended flawlessly. There is not a single wasted moment in all five, arguably six seasons of that show. Not a single wasted moment, not a single bad decision, not a single disappointment in any episode in that entire series. Leave it alone. Jason Russell, who is your favorite Batman villain? I mean, obviously the Joker. If you're looking for like a second place runner up besides the Joker, um, I've always. Let me see. He's got so many fucking awesome villains. I always thought that the Riddler had a lot of potential, especially cinematically. Like if you play the Batman Enemy Within, the video game, the Telltale, that is one of the coolest versions of the Riddler because they basically make the Riddler into Jigsaw, and that's always what I've saw the Riddler as. But Two Face is awesome. I've always liked Mr. Freeze. Harley Quinn is great. I'm trying to think of like if there's like a definitive second best. He's got too many good ones, man. There's the Joker's my favorite though. Maurice the Beast, what's up, man? Leach Army. If that scene wasn't in Halloween 2, what would make Loomis decide to go to the hospital? It's when he finds out they're related that makes him go to the hospital to protect Lori. I mean, you could you. I don't really think that's a space that needs to be filled. He just decides that maybe Myers isn't done with her. Let me go check on her. There you go. You don't even need that scene right there. I'm gonna go check on Lori. Okay. And it makes just as much sense as the whole scene with the reveal. But I get what you're saying. There might be a gap there. You might not be able to just delete that scene and have it flow perfectly, but for all intents and purposes, if you scratch that line out of the script, the movie is exactly the same. Eddie Brock, did you watch Two and a Half Men? Yes. I watched every single episode until Charlie Sheen left the show. I watched one more with Ashton Kutcher, hated it, never watched it again. Believe in the Hype ranked the Hangover movies. The first one is great, could give a fuck less about the other two. One, two, and three. Because I love the first one. The second one still made me laugh, although it was just a rehash and it wasn't nearly as good, and it tried to go way extreme for like shock humor. Three, I hated. Not only for the movie, but it was also one of my worst theater experiences. There's a whole long story involved with a girl, but essentially a girl that I was trying to date that was one of the biggest pains in the ass in the fucking earth that would like constantly draw me in just to kind of like make me feel like something was going to happen there and then just kind of like try to put me in the friend zone at the same time. And it was like this constant fucking yo-yo. The last like legit night that I spent hanging out with her was when we saw Hangover 3, and after that everything kind of went real south because I got real fucking tired of her bullshit. So there's so much like weird shit and negativity that I have kind of stamped onto that movie that's probably unfair, but just even the movie itself was not very good. So yeah. First one, second one, third one. Thoughts on Darnie Darko? Very weird, cool movie that's iconic, and I don't think I'll ever fully understand it, but I like it. Stephen Russell, thoughts on Hellraiser? Love the first one. The rest of them you could pretty much throw in the trash. I'm not a big fan of the second one. The second one's about the only one that is worth seeing. It's just really weird, so I'm not a big fan of it. But I do can kind of recognize it as a true sequel because it has Ashley Lawrence in it and it has an actual continuation of the story of the first one. The third one is just like a B movie. The fourth one's like a bad B movie, and I haven't seen anything else after that except for the most recent one, Judgment, which had some cool ideas and a cool character with the auditor. Everything else felt like some shitty little TV detective movie that just happened to have a B or a B squad Cenobites and a dime store fucking pinhead thrown into the movie for the hell of it to call it a Hellraiser movie. So I think Pinhead is way too cool of a fucking character for the series that he is in. That series is garbage. But the first movie is awesome. Believe in the Hype. Do you like Batman Beyond? I remember liking the movie, like the Return of the Joker movie, but I never watched the series. I'm not really too keen on anybody but Bruce Wayne being Batman. I think I got a super chat, guys. Let me see if I can scroll down and find it. Damn, I got a lot of questions waiting. Okay, yep, they're right there. Charles Thompson, $5. Thanks, man. Do you think we will ever get a Freddy versus Jason 2, especially the way they ended it with that cliffhanger of Freddy's head winking? No. Um, I think if we were going to get a Freddy versus Jason 2, they would have done it already. And that movie made a lot of fucking money, so I'm surprised they never jumped on it and made a sequel to it. But no, I don't think there's a lot of people out there. I would say like 60-40, 60 being people who like the movie. The movie's very divisive. There's a lot of people that think that the Freddy versus Jason that we got wasn't even very good. I think they're nuts, but there's a lot of people that don't think that that movie was very good. It's a miracle that the movie turned out as good as it did with all the script issues and how wild of a concept that is and trying to balance Freddy fans and Jason fans and make everybody happy. So I don't think they're ever going to make another versus movie. I mean, never say never, I guess, but if you're not going to have Robert Englund in the role of Freddy, I don't think that that movie works because I don't think that anybody gives a shit about seeing actor X in the Freddy suit versus Jason. You can put anybody in the Jason mask and make it work. Like people were mad that it wasn't Kane Hodder, but aesthetically, Jason still is Jason. It still works. You can't have Freddy versus Jason without Robert Englund's Freddy. I think I'm one of those people that says that I don't think that Robert Englund's the only person that can ever play Freddy. I think you could recast him and easily have another awesome Freddy. But for Freddy versus Jason, you got to have Robert Englund. Reggie Callahan, do you want to see another Chucky movie get made? Before Cult, I was so excited that they were kind of getting back on track with that series. After Cult, I almost feel like it's time for a reboot. I don't know. I just don't know where you're going to go that's going to actually be a place that I want to go. Cult just fucked it up so bad. Wolf Cool, do you enjoy the Psycho remake from 1998? No, I haven't seen it since 1998, but I don't remember liking that movie at all. I mean, it's a shot for shot remake. I never understood the point of that unless you're going from foreign language to English, because a lot of people don't like watching subtitles, and I was one of those people for a long time. But like something like Let Me In, I can understand that something that's like mostly shot for shot, but like literally shot for shot remakes from an American film to an American film make absolutely zero sense to me. Like that's probably the one thing that I would hate most if somebody said they're making a remake to something, but it's going to be exactly like the original, just new. No, I hate that whole concept. What's your thoughts on the film Alice, Sweet Alice from 1976? I've actually never seen it. I've heard a lot of things about it though. Jenny Castillo, who is the hottest girl in all of horror? Wow. You got a lot of choices. I just mentioned Ashley Lawrence. She's always been a very pretty girl. Jamie Lee Curtis, especially in her whenever she got like in her 30s and everything like that, she was fine in her prime. She still looks great for her age. Um, Hottest girl in horror. I don't know if I have like a definitive like the hottest. There's a lot of them. I mean, Nev Campbell was always pretty. You got like Sarah Michelle Gellar, who's always been pretty. She's in a lot of horror movies. I think Jane Levy's a attractive girl. She's in a lot of horror movies nowadays. So I mean, there's a lot. I can't think of like the queen though. Oh, we got another one. Southside Boxing, 4.99. Thank you so much. Much love from MS. Do you think Hollywood has ran out of ideas for original slasher or monster movies? Too many ghost stories. No, I don't think Hollywood has ever had less, or I don't think that we've ever had more good ideas out there than we do right now. The problem is not that we have a lack of creativity in Hollywood. The problem is that's not the movies that make money. Nobody goes to see the original ideas unless they get really hyped up. But everybody will go see Transformers 7. You know what I mean? So they know that ghost stories, that's the it thing right now. Insidious hit big, Conjuring hit big, Paranormal Activity hit big. So everybody's trying to strike while the iron's hot on what is kind of the current trend in horror. And you're seeing a shift now. We're slowly getting away from that. And we're getting more into like cerebral movies like Get Out and Hereditary, In a Quiet Place and stuff like that. These more smart horror movies, which is a cool trend. But no, I don't think we're short on good ideas by any stretch of the imagination. Thoughts on the casting of the adults for It Chapter Two? I think some of them are pretty good. I've always thought that the whole thing it's weird when the fans are clamoring for Jessica Chastain to play Bev just because she looks like the girl from the first one. I always get a little bit I always roll my eyes a little bit when the fans are, Jessica Chastain, Jessica Chastain. And the studio's like, okay, fine, we'll put Jessica Chastain in it. Now, she's a fantastic actress, so it's not like they got a shitbag actress that just looks like the girl. They got a great actress, but it just always feels weird to me when it feels like the fans are casting the movie more than the studio is. Um, but James McAvoy, love that dude, especially after Split. Like, I watch anything that he does. Bill Hader's really interesting. Um, I don't remember who the fuck. I think the rest of the actors are kind of smaller actors, but like those three right there, they interest me in it. I would have loved to have seen Seth Green get cast as adult. What the fuck am I trying to say? Richie, adult Richie. But oh well, that's the world we live in. Sorry, Seth. Rank the Final Destination films from worst to best. The Final Destination, Final Destination 5, Final Destination 3, Final Destination, and then Final Destination 2 is my favorite. Are you a fan of the scary movie series or other horror parodies? I'm not really a fan of parodies. I like the first two scary movies. I thought 3 really sucked. I thought 4 sucked more, and I never had any interest in watching any of them ever again. Will you eventually review Hand That Rocks the Cradle? Probably not. That's not really a movie that's too high on my priority list. To do the best Breaking Bad reviews, you need to do meth. You need to do meth during them. Commit or just don't do it. I got blue rock candy somewhere. I think I have. I'll make it look like I'm doing it. Compromise. Do you think Loomis will make a CGI cameo? I fucking hope not. That'd be stupid. That'd be forced. He's dead. You don't need to have Loomis in the fucking movie. Do you like Game of Thrones? I do. I'm not a super fan of it. I like it. I don't love it. I think I'm on season. I think I finished season 4. Whatever season had the fight between the mountain and the dude that eyes that he fucking pushed in. That was the last season that I've watched. I have all of them on Blu-ray to eventually catch up, but like I said earlier, just time. Do you like any comedians? I love Joe Rogan, even though I'm never going to see him again. I love Louis C.K. Um, Kevin Hart's really funny, but I've kind of he's a little overrated in my opinion. Um, yeah, those were my two for the most time was Joe Rogan and Louis C.K. But Joe Rogan's my favorite. Samuel Pagan, do you like Prison Break? I loved Prison Break when it first came out. I loved the first season. I loved the second season. My dad bought me the Blu-ray set a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and I was excited I'd actually finally get a chance to finish the show. So I watched season 1 over again, really enjoyed it. Watched season 2, possibly loved that even more than season 1. Struggled to get through season 3. Like season 3, the quality really dropped off. And then I watched maybe 3 episodes of season 4, and it just felt so derivative and so weird and just forced at that point that I lost interest. And I've still yet to finish the show. And I've heard that the little revival series they did had the same problem, so never watched that either. Have you seen Jack Frost 1 and 2 horror movies? I saw the first one. Don't remember much about it other than he kills Shannon Elizabeth by fucking her to death or something like that. In the let me see. All right. Probably do it for another 15 minutes, guys. So I'm going to scroll back down to the bottom again. Sorry if I skip over your question. Feel free to send it in again. But just for the sake of time, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. Mal Darko, rank the Shameless seasons and your 5 favorite characters. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. 5 favorite characters. Lip is my favorite. Kevin's my second favorite. Then I'll go Fiona, Carl, and Frank is number 5. I really don't care for Ian's character at all. I feel like, and this is not like a hateful statement whatsoever towards homosexuality, so pump the brakes. But I feel like the only thing they ever do with his character is just show that he's a gay guy. Like that's the only story that he ever has is I'm gay. And it's just like they had the one season where he kind of had the whole thing with his disease that he got from his mom with the whole uh what the fuck do you call it? Um I can't think of the damn name of it, but he had the mental disorder that he got from his mom, and that was the only time that he ever got any kind of interesting storyline. Every single season is just what guy he's trying to fuck. And I just feel like it gets so frustrating because that guy is such a great actor and that character has so much potential, but that's like the only one in the family, aside from Deb, who's just frustrating because she's a fucking idiot, that I just genuinely don't care for. But yeah, that's my top five characters. I'm not gonna rank the seasons because that would take me a while to think of. But season four was my favorite. I will say that. Angel Castro, have you done a Scream ranking from best to worst? No, but you will see one in July because I'm ranking and reviewing all four of the movies in July. Are you excited about the new Halloween movie? Absolutely. Favorite Mad Max movie? Mad Max 2. I love Fury Road, but that's the best action by far. But I feel like story wise and whole product, I feel like the Road Warrior is just a little bit better. Bronco Jugulo, will you get to this question before you get tired and quit? Yes, I will. Any chance of doing a video together, maybe about Child's Play? Possibly. I don't know. I'm very, very selective about collabs, and it's not just about like I only collab with Drum Dums or I only collab with CP. It's just my time that I'm able to record is so fucking limited to where I basically have to just squeeze in recording sessions whenever I get a few spare minutes. That it's very difficult for me to schedule out any kind of collabs with anybody because I'd have to commit to a certain time. You have to plan the video out. You have to actually record it with some kind of a Skype or um, Google Hangouts thing. Then there's the whole thing about communicating back and forth about getting the other person's video or putting your video out, and then editing it and then syncing it. There's just so much work that goes with collabs that I really don't do them too much anymore. I'm doing one with Brian Lomax. That's the first one that I've done in probably 7 or 8 months. So it's I don't know. I'm just for time wise, I'm kind of writing off collabs for the time being. The only ones that I do that's even close to that is Scream Stream, but there's no work in that. That's just setting aside 2 hours on a Wednesday night once a month. So in the future, possibly, but for the time being, I'm kind of out of the collab business for a while just because it's extremely stressful to trying to get a schedule to go to do one. Happy Voice, are you a fan of Seth Rogen? Yes, very much so. Charles Thompson, Creep 1 review. I have to look, unless I did a different. I think that the guy that I did my Evil Dead Patreon review also wanted me to do Creep and Creep 2. So I think Evil Dead took place of that, but I'll have to look and see what tier he's on. If this is one of my patrons that gets one quarterly, a quarterly request, I had somebody request that I do Creep and Creep 2. I just think I've done another video instead of that. So possibly. As far as my quick thoughts though, um, I'm not a big fan of found footage. I think that the character and the performance of Mark Duplass or Duplass, whatever you say, how you pronounce it, was very good and was very creepy. No pun intended. But overall, I'm not a fan of found footage, so that'll kind of tell you where that review would be headed. Thoughts on the new show Gotham? Never saw it. Aside from seeing the dude from Shameless play the Joker and see that character play out because it looks like it's awesome, I have no interest in watching the show. And yeah, it's just no. It's never really had my interest. I wish I could see like a super cut of all the Joker scenes. Doing a Predator 2018 review, absolutely. Favorite movie of all time is Die Hard. Thoughts on the Venom movie? Hope it's going to be good. Don't think it's going to be great. Thoughts on the Gotham TV series? Just answered that. What are your thoughts on American Horror Story? What do you think about the crossover between the first season and Coven? Could care less about that season because I loved the first season. Murder House, phenomenal. Season two, which is most people's favorite, felt like it had way too much shit in it. Felt like they were throwing everything in the kitchen sink in. Didn't quite work for me. Did not like Coven at all. Thought that was season was just batshit insane and just never really. It had this whole thing about witches being killed off and they would just get revived. So the show just had no weight to me that season. Um, I watched part of season four, never got into it, never went back to check it out. I watched the first couple episodes of season five, didn't get into it, never finished it. Watched one episode of season 6, the little whatever the fuck the Roanoke or whatever. Didn't like that at all. So I've given up on the show altogether. I've heard the last season, the one with the Donald Trump kid, was pretty good, but just the first season was great, and everything since then has disappointed me. So I gave up on the show. El Patron, is it weird to go to the movies by yourself? Not at all. I used to feel that way. That like going by yourself kind of made you feel like you were strange, but no. Most of the time I see movies by myself. Very rarely do I get to see movies with like my girlfriend. I'll take my kids sometimes if it's a certain type of movie. Like my son usually goes to all the comic book movies with me. I brought my daughter to Hereditary. So I do have them with me sometimes, but most movies I'll go see by myself. And I'm in my own little bubble when I watch a movie. Like I'm watching the movie, I'm experiencing it, I'm processing my thoughts, I'm experiencing it regardless if I'm the only person in the room or if I'm in there with 500 people. So only movies like big blockbuster like action movies or comedies especially kind of feel like you have to have somebody with you to enjoy it more. Like I wouldn't want to go see Deadpool by myself, something like that where it's like it's just as much a part of the experience to turn to the person next to you and laugh and smile with them as it is to experience the movie. But yeah, I'd say 8 out of 10 movies I see by myself, and no, it's not awkward at all. Best horror movie villain: Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger. Jacob Barger, do you like the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey? Yes, it's a classic. It's not my favorite Jim Carrey movie, but I've always liked it. What do you think of the Arkham games? I think all of them are awesome, and I hope they make another one. Nathan Oswald, favorite Stallone movie, not Rocky or Rambo? Um, Favorite Stallone movie, not Rocky or Rambo? Demolition Man. Demolition Man and Cobra. Jenny Castillo, are you excited for the I Know What You Did? And Copland. Copland's another great one. Jenny Castillo, are you excited for the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot? I didn't even know that we were getting one. Never heard of that. Um, I would check your sources on that because I've not heard anything about that, and I would have heard. Vince Malley, do you think a new Jason movie should take place in modern times or in the 80s? I think either or, as long as they execute it well. I'm kind of burnt out on the whole 80s throwback trend that we're in now, so I think I'd rather go modern times. It feels like ever since Stranger Things, everything has to be 80s throwback. You had like It, which needs to be, honestly, for that storyline, but that was in response to Stranger Things, which in and of itself was in response to it. But yeah, that you have stuff like Strangers, Pray at Night, which is like forced '80s feel. The whole '80s throwback thing just feels like it's a trend now, and it's Thor Ragnarok, movies like that. Even though they work well, it just feels like it gets thrown in because it's popular. So I would rather see Jason in modern times. Samuel Pagan, who will win a fight, Freddy versus Wolverine? Freddy. I mean, well, yeah, Freddy. Wolverine has the healing ability, so to a degree, it's like, can you ever kill Wolverine? But yeah, I'll give the edge to Freddy. Godfreak, who would you like to see as Freddy in a Freddy remake? I would love to see Willem Dafoe. I don't want to see any actors that I know the name of. When I see the person they cast as Freddy in the new movie, the first question that I want to ask is, who the fuck is this? I want somebody like Robert Englund was when that movie came out, where nobody knows who the fuck Robert Englund is. I want somebody that is so unknown that when I see him on screen as Freddy, I see Freddy. I don't see Willem Dafoe. I don't see Kevin Bacon. I don't see Brad Pitt. I want to see Freddy. I want the dude to have like a blank slate to where he can recreate that character the way that Robert Englund created him. So that's my answer. I want somebody that I don't know. Mal Darko, thoughts on Shameless season 8? Was that the most recent season? Um, I thought it was good. It's a good season. I don't remember any like inherent problems with it, aside from Ian's stories. Once again, that he's just trying to find a lover. Um, yeah, I think it was a good season. I think Fiona's story with trying to keep up this whole thing with the landlord and kind of slow progression was good. I feel like Lip's storyline was really good. Kevin and V trying to get back at get the bar back from Svetlana and everything was really funny. So yeah, overall it was a good season. There's no season of Shameless so far that was bad. The only thing that they did that kind of upset me a little bit was after season 4. For a while there, they made Fiona very unlikable because they made her seem so stupid, which I know is kind of the family curse, so it makes sense that she would have a lot of the same mistakes that Frank made. But Fiona was like the heart of the show for a while. And after season 4, whenever she, had this amazing job and then lost it because she was fucking her boss's, or her boyfriend's brother, and she left cocaine out and almost killed her little brother. Like, she just made so many bad decisions in like season 4, 5, and part of 6 that it just got to the point where it's like, this bitch is stupid. But they're starting to get back to where she's kind of the heart of the show again. So yeah, I like season 8. Tiger Man, favorite memory from high school. Oh wow, I had a lot of good times in high school. I wasn't like like, I didn't have a huge party lifestyle or anything like that. I had a couple close friends that we did some crazy shit once in a while. But favorite memory from high school, um, just probably any of the times that we'd spend the night at my buddy Zach's house, who's still like a really close friend. Like, I literally work right next to him. He got me the job that I have right now. Just hanging out at his house, just as simple of an answer as that is, that's the ones that I kind of cherish the most. And my buddy Sam, who's another really great friend of mine. A lot of the time, Zach was kind of the experiences where we'd have crazy times and we'd party and stuff like that. Sam was kind of more like the friend that I would have long, like serious talks with, and we'd kind of discuss life and stuff like that. He's actually a minister now, so that tells you the dichotomy of that friendship. You have one of my best friends is a minister. The other one's a big party animal. So it's I kind of have both worlds. Austin Santos, do you have any advice for meeting a rock star at a concert? Do you think Marilyn Manson is overrated? I've never really been a big fan of Marilyn Manson just because he's always been so weird that I've never really wanted to check out his music. Advice for meeting a rock star? I mean, I've only met one, but I just tried to not, one, don't be awkward, and two, don't try to say something that everybody and their fucking mother's gonna say. Don't walk up and say, I'm your biggest fan. I guess he's got a billion biggest fans. Like my thing was I wanted to meet the dude. I wanted to tell him my name. I wanted to thank him for the concert, tell him that he was awesome, tell him the music's awesome, and I wanted to share the story about my tattoo, which is in reference to the song that he wrote that always reminds me of my grandmother. So that's all I wanted to tell him, to kind of try to stand out and to actually be like a memorable fan meeting versus just, okay, what's your name? Okay, here you go. And it depends on the rock star too, because like Tremonti was very grounded and a very humble guy, and was like very grateful about all the fans, coming to meet him and everything like that. But you hear about some rock stars that are kind of dickheads, and like they probably don't really care, and they just want to get you out of the way as soon as possible to get back on the bus. So I guess it depends on what rock star you meet. But yeah, just don't be awkward and don't say the same shit that you think that every other fan's gonna say. Um, all right. I'm gonna do 5 more questions, guys, and then I'm gonna head out because I did this a little bit longer than I actually wanted to. But I've had a lot of fun reading these questions, so time's flown. All right. Let me see. Let me try to find one that's really unique. Jared Robertson, what do you think about the Michael Myers mask in the new Halloween movie? I like it a lot. I actually have already pre-ordered the actual recreated mask from Trick or Treat Studios. But it seems like it's the best progression from the original Shatner mask that I've seen so far, at least from the trailers and from the stills that I've seen. It looks like a realistic weathering and aging of that mask. Like I was talking earlier about my favorite masks, and Rob Zombie's masks look cool to a degree, but they seem very overdone to a degree. It seems like they're overly weathered and scarred and everything. It looks like Rob Zombie made the mask. It doesn't look like the actual mask from the original movie just showed up 40 years later like it does in this movie. So I like the look a lot. Um, would you like Jamie Lee Curtis in a new Psycho movie? I assume you mean like a remake or a reboot, and I don't know what role she would take. It would be cool because her mom was the original um, blonde girl in the shower, but I don't know what role she would take. So for like a cameo or something like that, yeah, it'd probably be cool just to kind of wink at the fans. But I feel like if you're gonna reboot Psycho, which they've already done brilliantly with the Bates Motel show, that you should try to keep cameos and winks out of it and try to do it very serious. Looks like I got a super chat, so let me make sure I get that one in. Oh, he just donated $1. Punk Junk, thanks, buddy. If you have a question, let me know before I head out of here. I'll try to get your question read. Let me see here. Do 3 more. Will you rank the Saw films? For me to review all of the Saw films, which would be the only reason that I would rank them, I would have to be pretty thin on other material. So it's going to take a while before I ever get to the point where I want to review the Saw films. I'm not a big fan of the franchise. So unless once I get through Halloween and Scream and any other franchise I do, unless it seems like every other comment I'm getting is, "Are you going to review the Saw series?" Like it was with Friday the 13th. Like Friday the 13th was the biggest comment that I had, or the most frequent comment that I had until I reviewed them was, "When are you going to review these? When are you going to review these? When are you going to review these?" So I did it. If I get that way with Saw, then I'll probably make it a priority. But until then, no, it's not very high on my want to do list. Happy Voice. My friend paid $300 to have a conservation and picture with David Tennant at Denver Comic Con. Would you pay that much for anyone? No. No. Not even Bruce Willis or James Hetfield or Corey Taylor or anybody like that. $300 to stand with them and take a picture? No. Kiss my ass. I understand if you're just like a super fan that it seems worth it, but thank you, Mother Mayhem. $5. Fuck you, Cody Leach. That's a great inside joke. That made my night. That's a good way to end my stream. So thank you so much, Mother Mayhem. All right, 2 more questions, guys. Let me see. Um, mm, Favorite 90s album? The Black Album by Metallica. I think it was at 91. Yeah, that was my favorite. Aside from that, did yeah, we'll go with that one. I can't think of anything else in the 90s. I'm drawing a fucking blank. I'm thinking of the 80s and everything. I hold that higher regard than the 90s. Jaws or Jurassic Park? Which film do you prefer? I've seen Jurassic Park more, but as I've gotten older, I think I prefer Jaws. Jaws is a movie that I think it appeals to me more. Jurassic Park is one of those movies that everybody puts in like their top 5 of all time. That as much as I love it, has never been in my top 20 of all time. So Jaws, I feel like is a movie that I would have more interest in rewatching now as an adult, especially with how disappointing the latest Jurassic Park movie was. But Jaws is just iconic. Jurassic Park has turned into kind of a schlock fest. Worst horror franchise. Hellraiser, at least for the ones that I've somewhat dipped my toe into. Hellraiser, Saw, Paranormal Activity. Um, yeah, one of those. Would you like another versus horror film like Freddy? Here, I said 2 more questions. I'm such a whore. Would you like another versus horror film like Freddy versus Jason? The only other one that I would want is another Freddy versus Jason if they got Robert Englund back. I don't really have any interest. Everybody always says Jason versus Michael Myers. How fucking boring would that movie be? You got one guy in a mask that doesn't speak versus another guy in a mask that doesn't speak. The whole movie would be. I mean, you have to have one of the characters at least that has personality. So the only other character, if you're not going to do Freddy, you have to have Chucky versus somebody, and then you're just getting silly. So No. If I don't get a Freddy versus Jason 2, I don't see the whole versus angle working with anybody else, honestly. Mother Mayhem only took me giving you money to notice. Typical. If you put in a question earlier, I must have just scrolled past it, so I apologize. Genuinely, I apologize, Lindsay. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you on Wednesday whenever we're doing the stream. Trust me. Can you please tell me the scene from the Terrifier that went too far? I'm curious. I don't know if I want to spoil it, but I'll just basically say that somebody gets one of the most gruesome kill scenes that I've seen in a long time. But it's one of those kill scenes that's not like gruesome in like a fun way. It's gruesome in like a like I don't want to really want to watch this kind of a way. So I don't want to spoil it for those that haven't seen the movie because it's kind of part of the experience, the shock value of when that scene comes. But I'll just yeah, when you see the movie, which you should see, I recommend you see it. You'll know it exactly when it's about to happen before the killing even starts. As soon as that scene begins, you're like, oh, this is it. It's about to go down. Do you like Megadeth? I like some of their stuff. I've never been a huge fan. I've never really been that big on Dave Mustaine's voice. He's got a very unique and weird singing style. Um, but there's a lot of songs of theirs that I love. I love Angry Again. I love Symphony of Destruction. I love Peace Sells. I love To Lamone. Their latest album, I forget what the name of it is, but I listened to that. That's a pretty damn good album. I don't remember. There's not like one song that sticks out, but just as a full experience of a metal album, it's pretty kick ass. But I've always been a Metallica guy. The world is split into two. You're either a Metallica fan or a Megadeth fan, and I'm a Metallica fan. So let me see. All right, now seriously, five more questions because I'm gonna end up being up till fucking midnight. Let me see. A lot of these questions I've answered already, so I'm gonna kind of skip past those. Let me see. Favorite video game? The original Metal Gear Solid is my number one. I really wish that that movie or that video game would get like a reboot, kind of like the Resident Evil games did. So yeah, I love that one. Yeah, Tom Jim, another completely unoriginal troll. You fuckers all come out of like a assembly line, I swear. David Waxenberg, what do you think of Paul 2011? Big fan. That movie's hilarious. Really surprised me too because I'm not a big fan of the Cornetto movies. I'm one of the few people. I just Shaun of the Dead. I've watched it like two or three times. The humor just I just don't get it. Like British humor just doesn't work for me. It's very dry. So I thought that Paul was going to be along the lines of those movies, and it's not. But yeah, I really like that one. If I could hang out with any celebrity, who would it be? Corey Taylor. He's my favorite singer, and he's spoken so much in his lyrics that really hits me. Like everybody has that one artist that for some reason just feels like they're writing for them. Corey Taylor is that artist for me. So that would be a guy that I feel like would be fun to hang out with, and just for the sake of like having actual conversations with him, I'd be looking forward to that. Um, for everybody that's signed off and like saying like, you know, good luck and we love you and everything like that. I love you guys too. So thank you so much for joining. This is a hell of a good stream, and I'll have to do this again at 14,000. Let me see. Mm, a lot of repeat questions. Did you see the new Halloween photos? Yes, we're going to be discussing that on Scream Stream. It was actually kind of a big thing, a controversy over at Killer Flicks, the horror group that I'm in, because me, along with it seemed like 70% of the people that saw those photos was fucking pissed that they saw those photos. Like, to me, even though it's probably really, really small in the grand scheme of the movie that we saw those two characters' deaths in still images, I don't want to see any fucking kills or aftermath of kills or anything like that before I see the movie. Because now when I see the guy with his jaw ripped open, and I assume that's the dude he gets the teeth from, and the guy that's got like something in his head and the fucking decapitated homemade jack-o'-lantern next to him. Whenever I see those characters in the movie now, I'm gonna know what eventually happens to them. So I was getting pissed at how much, like, people tagged me like 4 times that morning when those photos were released, and I kept swiping and ignoring it because I didn't want to see them. And eventually, by like maybe noon, I didn't have a choice. I had to see the pictures because it was like every third fucking post that day was somebody reposting it. Hey guys, check out these pictures. And to me, it was just one of those things of like, look, I know pictures to some people don't seem like it's going to be that big of a deal, but I feel like as movie fans in 2018, there's no excuse for not understanding the concept of spoilers anymore. Like at this point, if you post shit that's big spoilers and you just act ignorant, then you're just ignorant. You're ignorant to the fact that you're taking the choice of everybody else away, the choice to be able to avoid those photos. You're taking that away from everybody else when you post that. When you post those pictures, instead of just simply posting a link saying, click here if you want to check out these new photos, I think they look really cool, you post the actual pictures to where if I'm innocently scrolling down my Facebook feed or Twitter feed or whatever, those pictures show up and now I can't unsee them. You're taking that choice away from me to avoid that. So that really, we're going to have a lively discussion about that on Scream Stream on Wednesday. So you guys look out for that. All right, 2 more questions, I believe. So let me pick some good ones. Do you like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, same singer, LOL? I love AC/DC. I fucking hate Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses is one of those bands that I am so sick of to the point where if I never hear another Guns N' Roses song for the rest of my life, it'll be too fucking soon. That band has lived on its legacy of one fucking album since the 80s. And you always hear the same 4 fucking songs on the radio. You hear you hear Welcome to the Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, or November Rain. Once in a great while, you get Patience. Once in a very, very great while, you might get something like You'll Be Mine. But there's an entire album of Appetite for Destruction besides those 3 singles that's really good music. They had Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 that's got some good songs. Like Don't Cry is my favorite Guns N' Roses song. But aside from the fact that I think that Axl Rose is the biggest cocksucker in the entire history of rock and roll, I'm so sick of that band because I'm sick of hearing the same songs on the radio over and over and over and over and over. And they've lived their entire legacy off of one fucking album. You have rock bands out there that have libraries of 15, 16, 20 albums that don't get near the recognition as Guns N' Roses for a collection of like 11 songs that they have just continued to keep playing. So, that's my little mini rant on Guns N' Roses. So, yes, I love AC/DC. Guns N' Roses can suck a dick. I love Slash. I will say that. Slash's solo stuff, let's keep doing that. Guns N' Roses, no. See a lot of questions about the Child's Play TV series, guys. I've answered that probably 6 times already. Um, Mother Mayhem, Cody, who is a YouTuber you want to collaborate with? Hint, it's me. Whenever I get back into having a schedule where I actually can do collabs, I will absolutely have interest in doing that. So, yes. At the moment, my schedule sucks and I can't do collabs. But, yes, whenever I get past that, keep an eye out for that invite. All right. Final question. Let me see. I'm going to end on a good one. Um, hmm. Hmm. Everybody wants to hear my thoughts on the Child's Play TV show. All right. I have no faith in the TV show, guys. I have a longer answer. Like at the beginning of this video, I've answered the question a bunch of times. Oh, damn. I want one that's like really, really unique that I haven't seen yet. Favorite era of Metallica. Thank you. Oh, shit. Am I still live? I think I'm still live. All right. Favorite era of Metallica. I'm going to get shit for this, but 90s Metallica. And that's the reason why I answered this question. 90s Metallica is extremely, like, the definition of the word underrated. I know 80s Metallica is the shit. I know that they were fucking revolutionary in those first four albums, and I know that's what got them their fame, and that's what they will continue to be. Their legacy is the first four albums. But to me, I grew up with 90s Metallica. I grew up with the Black Album. I grew up with Load and Reload, Garage Inc., the song that they did for the Mission Impossible 2, I Disappear. I grew up with that era of Metallica, and that's the era of Metallica that means the most to me personally, because I think that Load and Reload are classics that nobody will admit is classics because it has the name Metallica on it. If any other band in rock music or metal or whatever you want to call it released those albums, people would fucking hail them as classics. But because they're Metallica and it wasn't Master of Puppets Part 2, people shit all over them constantly, and it constantly drives me fucking insane. If you legit just don't like the music and you have actual like intelligent answers for why, fine. But if you're just one of those guys that I've had arguments with for my entire life, it just kind of repeats the same shit that they've heard other people say. Like, oh, when Metallica cut their hair, they sucked after that. Okay, name one Metallica song besides Enter Sandman and Nothing Else Matters. 9 out of 10 people that say that, they don't know any Metallica music. They just hear other people say that and they want to sound like they're intelligent on the or knowledgeable on the subject. But I think Load and Reload, there's the argument out there that you could mash those albums together and get rid of maybe 5 songs and they're a brilliant album. And I can kind of understand that, but I think that Load all the way through really is a great album. Reload is the only one where it feels like 2/3 of it is great and about a third of it feels a little bit like B-sides. But to me, Load is a great, fucking brilliant album. Black Album is my like one of my favorite albums of all time. It's definitely one of my most influential albums of all time. For those that don't know, I'm a guitarist, so like it's one of the albums that made me want to learn guitar, and it's one of the albums that I spent the most time learning guitar on. So, Black Album, Load, Reload, the tone of the guitars, the style of writing, everything about 90s Metallica is my favorite era. So I mean nothing but love for Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning and all that. I mean fucking phenomenal albums, not taking anything away from them. But my favorite era is 90s Metallica. So that's my last question, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out for the past 2 hours and 13 minutes. Holy Christ. For anybody that I missed your question, like I said before, there's so many questions flowing that in the time that I answer one question, 30 questions pop up. So it's not me ignoring your question. It's just how it goes with these. There's no way I can answer all of them unless I just gave one word answers to all of them. So thank you to everybody that donated on the super chat. Was not expecting that, but you guys are all awesome. For everybody that answered or that sent me questions, all these questions was great. A blast to watch and a blast to answer. Let me see. Thank everybody that participated. I'm gonna do another one of these probably at 14,000. I haven't done one of these in a while. It just felt like a cool little impromptu thing to do. But you guys are all awesome. You keep the channel going, not me. So thank you so much. Look forward to those Scream reviews coming in July. Look forward to the Halloween reviews coming in September, and all the Patreon reviews sprinkled here and there, and the new releases and shit like that. But you guys are all awesome. Love you all. Thank you. And I'm signing out for the night because I got to get up at 4:30 in the morning. So good night, everybody.